Hi there. Oftentimes we have a requirement where we have an update in the Kubernetes config map and then we want to restart the application which is consuming this config map. So in this video, we'll see how to use Helm templates to achieve this. So here in my IDE, I have a Helm library chart and a Helm application chart. Now, if you are not familiar with what a Helm library chart is, please do take a look at my other video. Click the information icon at the top. That will give you an idea about Helm library charts in under 10 minutes. Okay, moving on. Let's see what templates I have under my library chart. So here there's a config map template, which is defined with the name mylibrarychart.configmap. The kind is config map. The metadata.name is release name dash config map. And the data, as you see, it's derived from the values.yaml file under the attribute named config map. So for example, if I have in my app chart and if I open the values.yaml, I have a config map attribute here. And under that, I have key value pairs, which I want to be the data for my config map. Then I have a deployment template and I don't want to go into each attribute of this deployment. Rather, I'll focus on that one attribute, which is the most important one, which is the annotations. That's under spec, template, metadata, annotations. As you can see, I've added one annotation here named checksum/config. The value of this annotation is nothing but a SHA-256 sum of the config map template that we just saw. So whatever config map template the Helm command would generate, it will take the SHA-256 sum and put it as a value for checksum/config. Now let's say we have to update our config map, right? So we add some new data or update existing data. The SHA-256 sum of the contents of the config map would change, which in turn means that the annotation value for checksum/config would have a new SHA here based on what updates were made to the config map. And the way Kubernetes works is if there's a change in annotations of the deployment or a pod, it automatically restarts the pod which the deployment resource caters to. So let's go ahead and take a look with a demo and see how this works. So here I am on my terminal. So I've split the screens here. On the left, I'll be using this screen to install the Helm and view the Helm templates. On the right hand side, I've done kubectl get pod and I've put it in a watch mode so that we can continuously see what the state of the pods is. Since nothing is deployed right now, the output of kubectl get pod -w is empty. There's nothing running here. So let's go ahead and install the Helm application. So I'm going to run Helm upgrade -- install my app, and the chart will be picked up from the current directory, which is the my app chart. As you see on the right hand side, it has picked up the chart and it has created new pods. It's in container creating state right now, and it will be going into a running state soon. And there you go, it's running right now. Now let's go ahead and update our config map to make some changes. So I go to the values.yaml because the config map derives its values from the values.yaml. So I come here, I add a new key called key3 and a new value called value3. Let's save this file. So I go back to my terminal again. And now when I run Helm upgrade -- install my app, because the values.yaml has new values for the config map would get updated. And on the right hand side, you will see the pod getting restarted. Now, before actually running this command, let me just show you what the template looks like when we generate using Helm. So when I say Helm template dot, it prints out the template, and let's focus on the annotation. So this is the deployment object. If we scroll down to annotations, here checksum/config is the attribute of annotation, and if you see, this is the SHA-256 of the config map template that is generated. So now I'm going ahead with the Helm upgrade dash dash install my app and dot. Keep an eye on the right hand side of this split screen, and you should see the pod restarting there. So as soon as its new Helm chart is installed or updated, you see the new app is coming up and the old app is getting terminated. The old pod is getting terminated. So Kubernetes handle that automatically because the annotations change. So this is how you can achieve a pod restart on a config map change. But there's one important thing which I want to tell you. Let's take a look. So what would happen if I go ahead and edit the config map directly outside of Helm chart, right? Will the pod restart? The answer is no. And let's see. So if I go and do a kubectl edit config map, my app dash config map, and I go here and I add a new key called key 4 and a value called value 4. And the moment I save and quit, keep watching on the right hand side, a new pod will not come up there. It will not terminate and a new pod won't come up. The reason is this all works as part of the Helm template rendering. So if you are not using Helm commands, the annotations will not change and the Kubernetes will not restart the pod. So this whole setup works only if you are using Helm. It won't work if you are simply updating the config map outside of the Helm chart. So that's all I had as part of this video. Thank you.